whole time about being fully loaded as the roundtable, but life be lifing and traffic be trafficking if you're Brendan Nunez. So we got Chris Watkins in the building. We got Chris.
Am I here? There
Yes,
we go.
you're here now.
I'm here.
It's always that one. That one always has
I don't know
something.
what it is.
Whenever I'm doing crosstalk, it's always that mic. But you are locked and loaded now, Chris.
We're ready. We're ready to go. I don't know where Brendan is. I saw Frankie's headphones in his office, so I assume he's working.
There's somewhere.
Somebody's got to.
Let's start here, Chris. I know you probably saw some of what I had to say last night, and what a lot of people had to say. What was your takeaway from last night's game? Because you are a pretty level-headed cat.
Thank you.
Right? But a lot of people, and I'm saying some really cynical Kings personalities, if you will, they were all in on last night.
Really? Yeah.
And, obviously it's the Warriors, and I get that.
Sure.
But I was a bit surprised that I really didn't see a lot of, guys, I know we were missing DeMontis and Levine, but we just beat the Warriors with Pods as the pioneer, the catalyst of that squad. But I didn't see that. I saw, no, I'm in. Russell Westbrook, let's do this. I saw a lot of that.
Yeah, I think I did not see a ton of like the general discourse, but I would say hearing that, like I am surprised too, because especially just based off of like the conversations that we've all had about where we think the fan base is at, you would think a night like last night would feel just super pointless, right?
Yes.
It's like what did last night in any form of building for the future, any form of building or trying to figure out what this team currently is, didn't answer any of those questions. Like I don't think we got further into any of those questions. I think I think we could just take last night as a story. Like last night is a night that we will not forget. Like last night was the Russell Westbrook night, triple-double, beating the Warriors. I think a big part of the reason, if I had to guess, why people aren't really making a big hubbub of like beating the Warriors or not making a big deal of the fact that the Warriors didn't have any of their players is probably because the Kings themselves also did. Like it felt like an even match. It was two teams that were only going with their role players, and it was a little bit of, if you want to say more pure basketball, whatever, but it's like, hey, there's no stars, there's no great equalizer or, something that's going to take you over the top like a Steph Curry would have in that game, or maybe like a random 35-point night from Zach LaVine last night would have maybe changed how last night looks for the Kings side too. So I don't know. I think it was just a really, I won't say, in the grand scheme of things, it was a relatively pointless night, but I think it's the kind of night that, Sacramento Kings fans are going to remember for like the next 10 years.
Yeah,
honestly.
It became the rebounding champ.
Yeah,
exactly. As a guard.
Too, yeah.
It was the bench bowl. That's what we're calling it.
That's a great, bench for
bowl.
sure.
And look, DeMar DeRozan, not a bench player, but the
Bay Area bench bowl.
The Bay Area bench bowl.
Just two Bay Area teams going at it.
Oh, well, I'm not. Hey, I'm just, look, people just started to like me. I'm not saying anything about the beam.
It's looking bright, man. The beam's looking bright these days.
It is.
Man,
it is.
crazy.
Every year they get more sponsors.
It's great.
More lights.
Hey, shout out Fong Law.
Yeah, Fong Law.
Keeping the lights on.
Got the jersey on. It's all fine and good.
Great.
So that, and the back and forth that I've had with the Westbrook fans and all of it. It's been insane to me.
There's two different. There's Kings fans, and then there's like literally a subset of Westbrook fans that are just following the Kings this year.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's
about
the definition
the
of a bandwagon. Like they're literally just traveling along with wherever Russell Westbrook is going.
They're just nomads.
Yeah,
right.
It's
Wherever
incredible.
we're going, where are we going next, Russ?
Yeah.
And with that being said,
they're loyal to it.
It's
insane.
No, they will.
It is like actually
cut you deep.
Kind of. I hope none of them. They don't. No, they're just online, right? They don't do airwaves because
I told them to check.
Some of them. I'm like, guys, like, I hope he sees this.
Yeah.
Very much like I don't know what you're doing all this for.
None of them have tried yet. We don't even see them on the YouTube.
I'm telling you, they only exist on Twitter.
Yeah. So
or who knows where?
Let's take it here. And I was trying to find the right way to say this. I was messing around. Talking to Frankie before we came in.
Where are they?
I don't know.
What is going on?
We bring the boom.
Not clearly not today.
No. And by the way,
noon or something.
By the way, I know no free promotion, but Costco has a Stromboli now.
Oh, I think I did see that.
It's hidden.
Yeah. They
what did
added
that
a couple
have to do with anything?
The Boom.
Costco boys.
The Costco boys.
Oh, that's right.
Whatever.
You don't even know what you're playing.
Yeah, come
Kyle.
on, man.
I mean, those guys
Kids
are
these
washed
days.
at this point.
Pretty much.
not
That was
the
like
Rizzler.
7 months ago, dude.
Not the
Come
Rizzler,
on.
but
Yeah, the Rizzler's got like combo
kid's
meals
like-
now at
Kids
Hardee's.
in middle school these
yeah,
days.
he's probably taller than me. As we continue the conversation, and Chris can't contain himself.
No.
I think he's short, Tim.
yeah.
I think he's short.
Kyle or Chris,
So just a force of habit at this point.
It's just like when you yell at your kids.
the conversation as far as Russell Westbrook, this is what kind of left me in a conundrum, right? Because it's not even about, because nobody's talking about Keon Ellis only playing 17 minutes.
No.
Because they won.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Or there's something else to talk about.
Yeah. I was honestly, in my mind, thinking, what about the development of Doug Christie? And the fact that, I don't know, Chris, just kind of looks like Doug is saying, all right, Russ, go out there and do your thing, right? I mean, what is the offense they're running? And it just feels like we're going to end this season, and hopefully it's not the case,
Yep.
but we're going to end this season, and I don't know who would have – I know Neek is going to get better because he's, young guy. Keon, I don't know what happens to Keon once Keegan Murray comes back. I think that's even less minutes for Keon right now. But I look at somebody like Doug, and I'm thinking – I mean, he's kind of just letting them roll the ball out. Is that unfair? Are you seeing more than what I'm seeing? I'm just seeing a bunch of vets that Doug is just letting kind of do what they've done for the last 15 years in the league.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think, it's definitely something to monitor for sure. I'm just not sure if 8 games is where, if we're talking about Doug's specific development, I don't know when is the right time to kind of start to notice things, but it still kind of feels like he's in the adjustment or taking punches, if you will, era of his coaching development where, he's still very much feeling it out and things like that. And I think he's done a good job. I've been, for lack of a better term, impressed with his willingness to go play all the young guys, start the young guys, play Maxime a ton, whether it be out of necessity or not. I think I just wasn't expecting those guys to play as much as they have. But to your other point, they've definitely played. He's leaned on veterans a ton here. And we've had conversations about the deeper meaning and the long-term vision of this team. Is that really productive? In terms of what they're running, it is a lot of iso ball. Not a lot. It's a lot of iso ball relatively to what the league standard is. But yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of pick and rolls. I think that's the biggest difference is instead of dribble handoffs, we're seeing pretty much every play start with some version of a high pick and roll, and then action works off of it. It hasn't been super flowy. There hasn't been really many moments where you've said oh, you could tell that this is something that they've rehearsed and it's, guys driving and cutting and screening at the right time. And, execution is clearly evident. That one play in Milwaukee definitely sticks out where the ball was humming. And,
they clipped it. And
everybody, and it's all over Reddit and everything that.
We did the thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's the thing that, every team in the league will have possessions a couple times a year that ends up sparking a perfect social media video and all that stuff. But a lot of that was off of drive and kick. And, I think a lot of the time their offense gets boggled down because the lineups just aren't perfect. There's not a lot of shooting out there. And so a lot of the time defenses are packing the paint and that can clog offense. And so I think a lot of the time the offense kind of gets muddied. And that's where, if the offense is going to get boggled down and things like that, the Kings do have a ton of guys who are just able to create shots. And I think that's why maybe those, Doug's talked about breaking down the shot clock in 8-second intervals, and you just see a lot of the last 8 seconds, I think, with some of these lineups, and that causes a lot of isolation, just, tough shots. And DeMar DeRozan obviously is a maestro at hitting tough shots, and Russ can hit some tough shots too, but I just think it's really shown when this team looks really, really bad, the offense looks just absolutely terrible.
Well, I think that's the other side of it too, right? And somebody's saying on the chat, free, I don't want to mispronounce it, but Free Papua? Free Papua is saying, I honestly think the Kings are turning into a transition team. And I don't think they're far off. I think it's either let's get something in transition or it's ISO, right?
Yeah,
it's that half-court offense that doesn't really exist right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, and I'll speak for Brendan since he's not here, is that he would say that every team, wants to operate in transition. Like operating in transition is something that every team should be great at, and if that's really your primary, attack on the offensive end, it's really not a great strategy unless you have a roster of people like a De'Aaron Fox and Zach LaVine, a team that makes sense to get out and run. And, I don't really feel like the Kings have necessarily excelled at that in any capacity. So, I think that's it. I think the bigger point is that does seem to be the points in which their offense looks the best is when they are in transition. Zach LaVine's a ridiculous transition offensive player, whether it's getting to the rim or his ability to just pull up from three. Obviously Russell Westbrook's ability to get downhill, Dennis Schroeder's ability to get downhill. I think that's just kind of where this team is at right now. And I do kind of think it needs to be said that this is all without Keegan Murray too. And Keegan, we've talked about before how important Keegan is to this offense. Like this is pretty, for lack of a better term, patchwork right now because they don't have the only guy that can kind of make the lineup start to make sense and to be more spaced like the modern NBA should be.
And we are now joined by Frankie Cartoscelli. So now we're at 2
There we go.
of the 3. Frankie.
Did I miss the Kid Rock?
You missed it.
You
Yes,
did.
you
Oh,
miss
thank
it.
goodness.
You did. Maybe that was on purpose. Frankie Cartoscelli, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, no, you're fine.
With me, our new market manager, who's a very, very great guy. Very nice guy, Jim.
Awesome.
Really great talking to him. Did I miss you ranting about Westbrook already? Because I come in this morning and Alan is just singing through the halls about Westbrook and Kings, and I don't even know what you were saying.
I was saying they beat Pods.
You were really excited that Westbrook had his night last night.
I was saying it was interesting seeing how everybody reacted because they beat Pods. That's what they did last night.
I think both sides would have reacted whatever way that you're inferring.
Are you saying that, Warrior fans would have walked out the arena yesterday and been like,
Dub Nation!
wasn't that a wonderful basketball game that was played? Like, you're telling me they wouldn't have tried to rub that in?
I mean, if we're keeping it 1,000,
Okay.
the Warrior fans would have had more to say because you do have DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook. I mean, you got some vets. I mean, the Warriors didn't have any vets.
I mean, the Kings are full of it. Like, who wanted nobody to play at that point?
I'm just saying how you asked me, would the reactions have been the same if the Warriors won? I think so. Or
You think it just would have been more justifiable?
I think,
They would
I would say so.
Sure.
They would say
I
no
think that's a
Steph,
fair argument.
no Steph, no Draymond, and
And then they would
no
say
Jimmy. They
Right.
beat,
they
the
beat
Kings
Westbrook,
still.
they beat DeRozan. That's
Yes.
what they would say.
Right, yeah.
But they didn't because they lost.
I think that's a fair
I think,
counter.
to be real, it's like the whole shorthanded thing. We've seen the Kings lose to shorthanded teams so many times. And I don't think it really matters anymore. They're all NBA players. Will Richard last night going crazy.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter. I think before the game, Brendan was saying he was a big Will Richard guy.
Yeah.
And I think me and Chris were kind of like, who?
I mean, I was like, he's good. He's all right. Like, he's fine.
But
Can we?
cooked.
30 points. I mean, it was a lot of back. Like, it wasn't like it was,
He's not here to defend himself, and there are other people as well. But there's always a guy has a good night, and everybody was a guy, right? Everybody was a Will Richard guy,
I agree.
And then he plays well. Now he's a Will Richard guy.
What do you mean?
There are a lot of people Will
Oh,
Richard
I
guys
didn't
now.
know.
Well,
I
you
thought
and
you
Brent-
meant in general.
Well, you and
Okay.
Brendan, and again, he's not here to defend
Yeah,
himself.
no.
You and Brendan are both Bay Area guys, so
Yeah, that's where I grew up.
Yeah,
sure.
I think that
I live here now. I had my second child.
That's right.
here.
You did. You're right. She's a Sacramento proud.
Which is funny because what if number 1 is a Warrior fan, number 2 is a Kings fan?
That'd be kind of fun. Then you have the kids that are wearing like the split Curry jerseys.
Oh,
Remember the
God.
split Curry jerseys?
Yes, I do remember those.
The Kings Warriors, the Kings Warriors
Oh
Curry
my
jersey.
gosh.
Branky, where are you at
thanks.
with? And I see somebody on the text line. This is from Kimberly. I don't think anyone is saying it wasn't pointless, but we can still enjoy a fun game.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where I'm
Yes.
at with this as well. But long term and what the Kings will do and where I was about to go with Chris is when Keegan returns. We blinked, October's over, and now it's almost time for stuffing and gravy and all of that. What happens when Keegan returns? What should happen when Keegan returns?
Like to the rotation.
Yes.
I mean, someone's gonna. And the thought I had when I had that same kind of thought bubble last night was, which is unfortunate. I feel like Nate Clifford's going to lose some minutes, which should not happen in my opinion.
Yeah.
Shouldn't happen. I feel like Russell Westbrook has put himself in a position now where he's probably, Zach LaVine's, playing shooting guard, but behind Zach LaVine, probably Russell Westbrook's been their second best guard this year, or maybe even.
I think yesterday I said he was his second most important player on the team.
I think it's really not that crazy of a thought. I mean, he's shooting 43% from three, and the rebound numbers are he's the second best rebounder on the team. The assist numbers are good. The turnovers are always going to be there, but I feel like you have to let him keep playing and kind of go until the wheels fall off. And they don't seem like they're going to fall off. Like Russell Westbrook still seems like he's very much Russell Westbrook, and maybe the Westbrook we were seeing in Los Angeles with the Clippers and with the Nuggets, that version where you're bringing him off the bench and playing him 18, 22 minutes a game. That's not really maximizing his potential. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Westbrook putting up big numbers and the Kings losing, should mean something, because I think Kings fans know, watching years and years and years of losing basketball. And like I mentioned on this show before, I think that there was a time where, and Chris can relate to this, I used to go to Kings games thinking they're going to lose, but maybe Boogie will score 40.
Right, they might win.
Maybe Boogie will score 40 and it'll be close. Like, they could win. I want to make sure that, myself, that as someone who watched Westbrook for the majority of my life, like, I want to make sure that I don't get lost in that sauce. Like, just because he's putting up 25, 16,
and that's what I was
12,
saying to you this morning.
But I don't think I didn't see the reaction from Kings fans that you're seeing. I didn't see people saying Westbrook had a triple-double. The Savior's arrived. I think it's just Westbrook's one of the greatest guards that's ever played the game.
Yeah.
He still has some juice in the tank, and he's balling right now.
For the Kings, I think that's the craziest part, is
Yeah.
that he just had a moment. Russell Westbrook, future Hall of Famer, one of the best guards of all time, and it was like for the Kings, and we got to see it like in front of our faces, like that. Against the Warriors, regardless of who was suiting up for them.
And it's at home, and like there's just all that comes with that. And Vince Carter, I think, is the other one thing we can kind of equate it to. Vince Carter and DeRozan. DeRozan's had some pretty big moments for the Kings too, like the step through game winner in Dallas. He's had multiple 30-point performances.
He ain't Westbrook, though.
But like what we're seeing from Westbrook, just the way that he plays, I mean, he's electric. He's still electric. It's must-watch TV.
Very
I think,
impactful
in my opinion,
too.
It's been impactful.
Yeah, you know what's funny? The way you were talking, and I think the examples that I'm going to use, Russell Westbrook is better than, but it's the closest thing I can get to. You know what it is, guys? It's kind of we can't have Cam Newton as a backup thing, right? We can't have, a lot of people didn't want to draft Shedeur as a backup, and not necessarily the miming in the interviews and things like that, but just the idea of everybody's going to be talking about this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to get asked about this guy the whole time. So if you're going to put this dude on the roster, you got to let him go. And now that he's on the roster, and this is what I was talking with Chris about before you came in, Frankie, because you were late, but it was for a good reason.
Come on.
This is what I was talking with Chris about. I'm worried that the loss in the saucing that you said is spot on, because of whether or not it could become a crutch and you're just so Russell Westbrook dependent. And then for some reason, if that ends or whatever the case is, the season ends and Doug hasn't really improved because he's just been letting Russ run around, or Keon or Neek if he gets squeezed, things like that. So how it ended, as I started off talking to you before the show, and by the time we got to the end of the first hour, it was more so, look, this is cool. Let's see what happens at the trade deadline. That's pretty much it. We can do this dance as long as we want to do it. If they're the 8 seed, keep going.
And
keep going.
To that, I say, I think with people that were screaming, why did they cut Isaac Jones, and they kept Dario Saric and Doug McDermott, is because I feel like a trade is coming, and they need those salaries to use in deals. Otherwise, they would just cut bait with Doug McDermott, who's not playing in any meaningful minutes this year. They would just cut Dario Saric, who I haven't even seen him play a meaningful minute in a while. Is he? I don't even know if he's on the bench.
No,
last
I
night.
forgot.
game.
Yeah,
I don't even know where
yesterday
he was.
we were talking about him, and I honestly was like, this guy must be unplayable because we haven't seen him. We just have not seen him, and everyone else has played.
But he's making $5 million, and you can use that. So I feel like to your point, I don't think it's going to be Westbrook's cooking till April, and the Kings win 31 games, and they didn't make a move. They're going to make a move. I feel like I can say pretty confidently they're going to make a move. Otherwise, why would they
clip
keep?
That.
Don't clip that. You can't. Well,
You clip it. Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking
I'm
about?
like, don't clip that. Wait, who am I talking to? Why else would they hold on to the
Brendan
salaries?
clips
Yeah, Brendan. Maybe that's what he's doing right now.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I don't look at this as a threatening Westbrook is playing. Christie's going to play Westbrook 40 minutes a night and they're going to hinder Keegan's development. I don't think so. I think when Keegan comes back and Levine and Sabonis are playing, Westbrook's going to come off the bench.
Which Doug said yesterday.
Yes.
Also, he did say he
For
specifically said Russ is going to come off the bench when everyone's healthy. I think he even just said Levine. He didn't even mention Keegan.
He was brought in as a backup point guard.
Yeah.
He said that he can play a lot of things. I think Doug said he can play forward for us too. It's like, well, maybe you don't need him to play forward, but I think that, and Doug also put in there that he expects him to close games. Mm-hmm. So I think that if you look at it that way, I don't know. I think right now I'm just kind of, from my perspective, it's Westbrook's playing really well. The Kings are okay. They're 3-5. Probably could get worse with the upcoming schedule, but just let things happen. Don't. I wouldn't make up to you, Alan, not to the fan. Fan how you want to fan. I'm talking to Alan right now.
But not you.
What
You don't
about
fan
me?
how you know.
I don't understand.
You're like DEFCON 1 right now. It's just like,
What do you mean?
you think the Kings fans are in love with Westbrook and
Frankie,
he was the savior.
it was a beam celebration last
They won
night.
the game.
Yeah. They did. I was just surprised.
It was a great
at
night.
How, ownership is clapping hard.
You should have seen Joe Lake. You want to talk about ownership clapping? Woo!
Well,
you see Joe Lacob yesterday courtside?
I did not.
Oh my God. You would have thought this fool was Steve Ballmer sitting courtside. He was standing up, clapping, going crazy. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. I could not believe it. You would have thought Steph and Draymond and Jimmy Butler were out there the way Joe Lacob sitting courtside. I'm sure Vivek hooked him up with those beautiful seats.
Yeah.
And he just I'm sure
clapping for Will Richard.
It was just crazy. I was like, if this guy don't sit Joe behind down for these guys you don't even know. Yeah, clap for Kaminga. I know you like him.
Yeah, well, and Pod's going to be an all-star. He told us. He tried to tell us. Yeah. And by the way, somebody said 14-9-9 for Kaminga for Pajemski. Empty calories.
I don't need to hear
empty
that.
calories. On the other side, let's keep the conversation going. Is Russell Westbrook the perfect fit for the Kings? And what if it means Keon Ellis gets squeezed out? Alan Stiles, Sactown Sports.
I feel like I can say pretty confidently they're going to make a move. Otherwise, why would they
clip
keep...
that.
Don't clip that.
Stay up to date on Sacramento sports. Join the Sactown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit SactownSports.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Amateur players will be pleased to know that the USGA doesn't object to a friendly bet with your weekend foursome. Friendly bets include soft drinks after the round, hot dogs at the turn, or even a $2 Nassau, one of the most widely used bets in golf. It takes its name from the Nassau County Country Club of Glen Cove, Long Island, one of the many clubs frequented by the well-to-do in the late 19th century. As the story goes, matches between these clubs were often reported in the local newspapers, sometimes to the embarrassment of wealthy industrialists coming out the loser. The Nassau captain J.B. Coles Tappan then devised a format where the worst possible result could not be reported as anything more than a 3-0 defeat. In a Nassau 3 equal wager.
Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Joined by Chris Watkins and Frankie Cartoscelli. So,
We bring the boom.
no.
That's what we do.
Been a minute for that one.
Well, you haven't been here.
Yeah, I've played it like 6 times already.
I've been on your show the last 3 weeks. What are you talking about?
Then he's played it. He's definitely played it. And
tuned it
Russ,
We bring the boom.
Now,
That's what we do.
just
if
being
you're in the
mean.
car right now, I'm
sorry.
legitimately rolling my eyes. And speaking of Russ, he was playing no games last night as he goes off. Your segue strikes again as he goes off for a triple-double, guys. But something that nobody seems to care about today, and it's interesting, and I don't know if you've seen this either. There's been a slight shift, and I was, one of the people during the summer to kind of call out how it just might not work out and how this player might be used better on a different team. But I'm seeing a slight shift in the Keon Ellis thing and people starting to take off their purple lenses and say, hey, he's not all he's cracked up to be. Last night he gets 17 minutes and I don't even see anybody complain. I actually see some people say, stop talking about Keon Ellis like he's, the next best thing since sliced bread. So I don't know, man. I mean, obviously he's headed towards unrestricted free agency. I said in the 10 o'clock hour, could this possibly help the Kings because you suppress his value and you're able to keep him? But it's a weird situation. And Frankie, let's start with you, just as far as what all this means. You're going to get Keegan back. You talk about squeezing out Neek because Neek's got a little bit more to him.
That was a guess, by the way.
Yeah, right. But I mean, he's playing more than Keon right now. So if Neek gets squeezed out and Keon's not even breaking 20 minutes, last night specifically with no Zach LaVine either, I don't know. I don't know what to do with Keon at this point.
Well, I think that not easy solution, but again, I'm not just trying to throw things out there, but I feel like it's not rocket science. You have to move someone to create room. Mm-hmm. And I feel like DeMar DeRozan's the player who, Russell Westbrook as well, but, Russell Westbrook's on a non-guaranteed contract, and I'm not sure how much trade value he would have at this moment. But DeMar DeRozan's someone who has a partial option for next year and can still get you 20 points a night. And if you trade him at some point, that frees things up a little bit. You can move Neek into that spot. You can move Keon up a little bit to get more minutes. But until there's some movement there, someone's going to, like you said, get squeezed out. And it feels like Keon, for a team that has a very crowded backcourt already, what he can do. He's probably the best defender on the team. For sure, best on-ball defender. Obviously the Kings don't have much of a post presence, but I'm just talking about for purely defensive skill set. It's Keon, and someone who can shoot 40% from three. You have to find somewhere to play someone like that. A lot of the teams that you see in the NBA that are in the playoffs every year, they have players that fit that exact mold right there. And I think Keon Ellis, like you said, maybe it'll help his value. I don't know. I feel like a lot of NBA teams and scouts and coaches, they know what Keon Ellis can bring.
Yeah.
Night and night out. I don't think he's going to get a $10+ million a year contract like he thought last year when he was starting games and scoring 10 points a game, shooting 43%, getting 2 steals per game, finishing second in the NBA in steals last year, I think it was, or third. I think it was third in the NBA. Someone out there will take a flyer on him. And the Kings right now are kind of in a spot where they shot themselves in the foot a little bit. They didn't decline his option. They didn't let him reach restricted free agency this year, which I think would have been probably the smart move to sign him to a team-friendly as you can get, while also, paying him what he thinks he deserves. It's kind of their own fault, and it is kind of like back to like a larger conversation of the Kings are going in two different directions. Like we talked about Russell Westbrook for the majority of our time so far, and that's great and it's exciting, but if you talk about the young guys, it is kind of impacting them a little bit. Neek Clifford looked great last night.
Yeah, he did.
He looked really, really good, I thought. I think that his ability to create his own shot looks good. Keon Ellis, same thing. We know what he can do on defense. And ideally, if the Kings had a spot opened up, you can find minutes for those guys. Because, like you've mentioned, Keegan Murray is going to play probably almost 40 minutes a night. Like, he played, till the wheels fall off. Mike Brown, Doug Christie both would put him out there for 35-plus minutes. I don't know how that changes. I don't know how you find minutes for Keon Ellis in there. Or even Neek Clifford without moving one of DeRozan or LaVine. And I feel like we know what the market for LaVine is non-existent. DeMar DeRozan's market, I feel like won't really materialize until closer to the deadline when we see the injuries that pop up around the league. Who needs help on the wing? Who needs a scorer? If the Celtics don't have Jason Tatum back, people keep bringing them up. I don't know if they're interested at all, but if they think, hey, maybe they can get DeMar DeRozan for half a season and Tatum comes back in April, great. But those are teams that might come calling at some point when injuries happen around the league into February. But it's going to be another one of those things. You're going to see people on social media screaming into the void why Keon Ellis is playing 11 minutes and not playing in the fourth quarter. It's probably going to happen unless they make some moves.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it is, I think a lot of it actually is kind of what Frankie said at the end there, is that he's not finishing games or you're not really seeing him in the second half, which is exactly like Frankie said. I think it's just really a product of the fact that there's such a backlog in front of him. I do think I get a little bit. I just don't know how to feel about Keon because some of it, in terms of the general conversation of like where is he in his development, because I think that he's playing around 17 to 20 minutes a game, and I kind of feel like that's around where he should be. Like if you're talking about a team that is competing, like I don't know if Keon I don't know if people seem to project him as a starter. I don't know, but to me, 17 minutes and kind of the role that he's playing now is probably the role he's going to play on a team that is successful. And so it's kind of tough for me because, I mean, on one hand, we talk about this team needs to develop and worry about the future. And that should mean, I guess, Keon plays 30 minutes and we figure out what it looks like if he plays that role. But I don't know. I mean, with how the roster is currently constructed, to me, it makes sense for him to be playing how he is. And I think the bigger problem with people feeling maybe like he's not playing well is just from the offensive end, because I was just looking at it defensively. I mean, he's been there every night. Like he's gotten multiple steals on just about every game, even in his limited role. The shots aren't there because obviously DeRozan, LaVine, Sabonis, we know how the math works out. And I think maybe that's where the frustration is actually at, is just that he's not getting shot attempts. But again, I still think Keon, it's not as if Keon is playing poorly. It's just I think a lot of people want to feel him more, ipso facto, give him more minutes because, yeah, he's doing it on the defensive end, but we just haven't really seen him impact it how we've seen him impact on both sides before.
I think you hit the nail on the head. This is a team that continues to tell us that they are competing,
Yes.
right? As of right now, they are not out of the playoffs.
Right.
As of right now, they could win the championship, as
Sure.
any team
Right.
could,
Right.
right? So what they're doing is playing him as if they were, as if he was on the Rockets.
Because he's not out of the rotation.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what he would be on the Rockets, on the Nuggets, on one of these teams that we believe would compete. So until they're not in that spot, I think you're right, Chris. There's, I guess, not that much to complain about. It's just we don't necessarily think that they're going to compete eventually, or contend, I should say, eventually. But yeah, it reminds me of the joke I always say about, you get moved from center field to left field like I did, or from shortstop. Others.
You have a weak arm?
The dude, he played AA ball, all right? From shortstop, Jimmy Kerrigan, we look him up once a month, maybe once a week. But
playing in the Mexican League right now.
Balling out in the Mexican League.
Yeah,
shortstop to second base. If you're Keon, hey, this is what you're going to be in the league, so there's no point in us. What your development, and Keon said this on these airwaves on this show, I'm never going to be the second or even third, scoring option. So it is kind of what it is. I just think it all escalated and de-escalated quickly from being in the doghouse to actually Mike Brown was kind of only about 3 to 4 minutes off of what Keon should actually be playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because I don't want to, stamp Keon already down as a guy who doesn't deserve more minutes or anything like that. I think it hasn't helped for his game that Malik is playing so well, right? Because if Malik isn't playing or shooting as well as what he's just been lights out to start the year, maybe that gives Keon or makes Doug look Keon's way a little bit earlier or in some different situations. Also, obviously, just Russ has worked out really well as well. I think it's just, again, the logjam at guards, there's so many different options that, very rarely does it feel like, hey, because they look at Schroeder as the guy that they're going to look at if they want to stop the ball, stop point of attack. And so I just feel like very rarely would Doug look at Keon's direction right now and say, I know he can shoot the ball 40% and he obviously can lock down, but it's just the other guys bring so many different things to the floor, and obviously the veteran nature of it too. It's just, it feels like those guys get the nod more times than he does because of, again, it's the logjam. It really is as simple as that.
Yeah, and it's also flow shooting, right? It's not a Doug McDermott. Hey, we are a brick right now from 3. Let's put in Doug because we know Doug's going to get up 6 threes in 2 minutes. Keon is not going to do that.
Correct.
He's not going to force a shot.
Right.
So even though he's a good 3-point shooter, and I think they were saying on the broadcast, he's not a volume shooter. Yeah, so even if they're bricks,
I think he was 5 of 8. Shout out him last game.
Yeah, he was.
But then he's 0 of 1. He still played. He played 17 minutes yesterday, and he shot 1 shot.
Yeah. And that's who that's kind of what it's going to be, especially on this team. He doesn't have, if he was on a Thunder and if he wasn't Isaiah Joe, he'd probably get more shots up, or Lou Dort, somebody like that.
He'd get 4 corner threes a game off.
That's not, again, so it's the team itself and it's also the collection of talent on the team. Neither thing bodes well for Keon right now.
Yeah, I would say, I was thinking about when Frankie was talking in the first segment, like this is a rare, for Russell Westbrook, this is a rare situation where player situation and team situation perfectly come together, and it's, hey, Russ, like we really have this gap at this hole and this hole in our roster right now, or in how we play, and we obviously know you're more than willing to kind of take this team and run with it. And I think last night was a perfect runway for him to do that. it's the complete opposite for Keon, where it's just this could not be a worse situation for him to be in. It feels like, again, in every other team and every other situation across the league, he would probably be getting 17 to, who knows, maybe 25 minutes because, other teams would just do better at prioritizing when he's in, get him shots.
Yeah, more focused minutes as well. The name that I thought of, and we'll continue this on the other side, is if I don't want him, I know he's somewhat of a local guy, but he's on the ban list. If you swapped Gabe Vincent and Keon,
okay,
and you got Keon in LA, just guard because Luka don't want to guard, right? And Austin Reeves and Luka just finding Keon in the corner when they're done doing their thing. Yep. He needs that heliocentric type offense, and it's kind of that in Sacramento, but there's three dudes doing the heliocentric thing, which means they're not dispersing the basketball the same way.
I think this version of Keon Ellis would be a really good fit on the first beam team. I think that the off movement, the ball movement, the dribble handoffs, the defense that they lacked. I think him and Kevin Huerter would be a good 1-2 combo for the 2 spot. I know Davion played backup point, but probably Malik would probably get in there a little bit, take those minutes, but. Yeah, that's kind of the problem is that team had a lot of ball movement and cohesiveness. This team's kind of a lot of your turn, my turn on offense. And a player like Keon, who is not a ball-dominant player on offense, gets kind of lost in the shuffle, and that's kind of what we're seeing, I think.
Well, we had to hit our quota. You didn't think we were going to get out of here without the guys talking about how they feel about Ja Morant. It's coming up on the other side. Alan Stiles, Sactown Sports.
The Drive Guys, weekdays 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
on Sactown Sports 1140.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads. Great for you, and so easy you could put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage? Weird, but still a salad. 1 radish and a couple of green beans? Also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke? Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
A blown left headlight is making Erica's drive to her son's soccer game darker and darker. So she goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Where a friendly AutoZoner finds her 2 new bulbs.
These lights have the most clarity.
And helps her get back on the road so she can brighten her drive and the cheering section.
All right, all right.
See clearer and drive safer with new lights. No hassles, just help.
Alan Stiles.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sactown Sports.
One more segment with you. Frankie Cartoscelli, Chris Watkins. So, guys, there's no practice today?
None.
Not today.
They get a day off finally. Well, at least we do. I don't know.
I don't know. They might not be doing.
They might not do anything,
which is pretty normal.
It could just be a film day.
Well, you got to celebrate.
They should watch film.
You need to stop.
No, you
got to sleep in. Is what you got to do.
You got to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Right.
Huge win.
Got to let the champagne dry from last night.
Huge win.
You know?
Yeah.
Super proud of the guys.
Super proud. Took them up to the beam United.
What do you think?
Do you think he could do that a second time?
No.
It would have to be like a completely new group. Like nobody will have had to have
maybe
been up there,
just
right?
the new players.
Right? I feel like that would be funny.
Imagine walking Russell Westbrook and a bunch of rookies up to see the beam.
You guys don't have to go like Keon, Keegan, Sabonis.
Did you guys cover the Westbrook LeBron story, the Will Smith thing, where
it was so bizarre?
I imagine that same scenario for the beam situation, where it's like, oh, DeMar doesn't have to go up to the beam.
Yeah.
Oh, Sabonis. Well, then I'm not. We all just not gonna go.
Sabonis being like, "Nah, y'all got this."
Yeah, y'all got this.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sabonis
and then Keegan walks out.
Keegan doesn't have to. Yeah. So obviously they take on the Thunder tomorrow night. I believe, Jalen Williams just hasn't been playing. They didn't even have Chet last time. Yeah. And I did change my tune a little bit on that game just because I watched Thunder Clippers earlier this week and the Thunder are just on another level. Ridiculous. I know Kawhi didn't play, but they're just on another level. I don't know what to expect tomorrow night, guys. And again, Russell Westbrook played pretty darn well against the Thunder. I mean, they were leading for majority of the game. Then he played well against the Nuggets as well.
Thunder lost last night, by the way.
Yeah, and so they're going to be motivated.
Your boy Denny Allen, 26 points.
I keep trying to tell y'all. But, now everybody's going to be – now I'm going to be the guy, Frankie, and everyone is going to say, Alan, okay, now you're the Denny guy. But I was the Denny guy.
Denny's going to make the All-Star team in the West this year, and you're going to be vindicated.
I was the Denny guy. And you know that from
I know
dinner.
You have. Yeah.
From dinner.
But you're a lot of guy. Like, you have a lot of players that you think,
Keep an eye on Jeremy Sohan.
Okay.
Oh, no.
What was it?
He can keep two hands on the ball. I'll keep one eye on him.
Tejan Salon, you are really
big on him.
No.
Draft is different.
Is it?
Draft is different in that you're always laughably wrong.
Yeah, draft.
Spencer Rattler was your guy, too.
Okay, Spencer was my guy prior to the Caleb Williams stuff. And he still made it.
He did.
He did.
He's a
might be better than Kyler Murray.
He was a starting quarterback.
Might be better than Kyler Murray.
Maybe Kyler Murray's about to replace him on the Saints.
All right. Let's get to this Ja Morant stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Because, there's honestly way too many updates to do here as we close out the hour. But, I guess the Spark Notes version would be we have seen that there is a lower price tag on him. We've also seen Jake Fisher recently say that they're not trying to move Ja at this juncture, which is what the Grizzlies have to say. Yep. But let's just pretend that he is available, guys. And I'll start with you, Chris. What is your appetite for a Ja Morant? And, of course, it comes down to what the price tag is. But off the top of your head, what is your appetite?
It's fairly minimal, but I'm willing to listen. I think for the right deal, I'm willing to be prudent and opportunistic. But I think, I just, unless it's like an obviously great deal, which would, in my eyes, probably be like a, DeRozan Monk in one pick, like I would probably do that. But if we're talking about, okay, we're really starting to dig into the war chest, like I don't even I think pretty much every trade that I've seen mocked up for that is including the San Antonio next year's first, which nobody expects that to be anything other than, a 25 to 30, but I just wouldn't want to give it up. I feel like Ja is very volatile for reasons that we can get into either now or at any other time, but I just feel like it's probably not the right risk for them to take right now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Kings fans would say, been there, done that with, the on the court stuff. And I do think, though, just adding in, I know Sam Amick was on this morning with Dave and Jason, and kind of his intel, which a lot of people would agree when Sam Amick speaks, a lot of us listen, was that Memphis is definitely not interested in moving him because there's kind of and he kind of added he's laughing about, well, this is going to get aggregated to hell, but here we go. Their arena lease is up in 2028, 29, and that if you move Ja Morant, you're moving pretty much your, I don't want to say cash cow, but you're moving a player who brings you a lot of revenue. People pay to see Ja Morant. They pay for the merchandise. They pay for tickets alone. And Memphis has had a kind of a rocky last year plus, firing Taylor Jenkins and just kind of, the roster turnover and trading away Desmond Bane. There's a lot of things that are going on there. So if you cut bait with Ja Morant, NBA is looking to have two new teams in Las Vegas and Seattle. I think there was whispers this week that they maybe could relocate the Pelicans and the Grizzlies. If you move Ja Morant, you might expedite that process. So that aside, from a basketball standpoint, in Ja Morant in Sacramento, it's kind of more of a same. You have another guy who's not a good three-point shooter and can clog up the paint. And the Kings right now are already, I think the majority of their scoring comes from the mid-range. Last night they took 23 threes, and Doug said in his pregame press conference that whereas last year he said that he wanted them to shoot 50 a night. Last night he said, I want them around 40. Yeah. And they were half of that last night.
How about get the 23? 30? Yeah, can you get the 30?
Get the 25.
Yeah.
Jeez. 25.
You know what's sorry. I think as you were saying that, it's kind of crazy. Walk with me here.
Okay.
Ja Morant, the basketball play of De'Aaron Fox, or maybe the basketball frustrations of De'Aaron Fox, and maybe like potential non-future proof issues of De'Aaron Fox with potential headache of DeMarcus Cousins. Like that's potentially what we're talking about with Ja Morant. And that's why I think the Kings, I don't think for specifically De'Aaron basketball reasons, but I do think that maybe played a little fact. Like if he shot threes better, something tells me maybe we would have liked his style a little more and maybe would have wanted to keep him more. I just feel like it's doubling down on all of the issues that the Kings have already kind of opted out of with DeMarcus and then with De'Aaron.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
And it's re-opting in.
Yeah, you're going...
With both. It's like the injury things could happen, he blows his knee out at 26, and then by the time he's 31, his career isn't the same. Or we've already seen, I mean, literally when I saw Ja Morant suspended for a game, conduct detrimental to the team, DeMarcus Cousins flashback. Instantly. I was like, I have not seen that headline. I feel like, I'm sure Draymond has gotten some, but like DeMarcus is like, that is exactly what I think of DeMarcus Cousins.
And you know, I'm looking at Ja Morant and, 8 games this year and obviously suspended for one of them, and 50 games last year, 9 games the year before, which was heavily, a lot of suspensions in there, 61 the year before that, 57.
It's bad.
He's never played 70 games in a season, so it's there are the injury concerns, and like you said, like you put it very perfectly, Chris, like it's almost like taking a step backwards kind of in a way. And if you're going to make that next big move, I don't know if Ja Morant's like the guy you want to bank on that's saying, okay, the Kings kind of right now are lacking a face of the franchise. I mean, they have Domantas Sabonis, but he's turning 30 this season, turning 30. Who are you going to have that who's your 5-year building block?
Yeah.
Is it Ja Morant?
It's Ja and what? It's like, what, you're going to have Zach LaVine? You're going to have Sabonis still?
Murray,
like, that doesn't make sense.
Keegan.
Also, from like a leadership standpoint, I assume you're trading DeMar DeRozan. It's like, so again, you're bringing Ja Morant, who's had, we'll just say character issues, or even like I was listening to a Locked On Grizzlies guy talk about, Ja is somebody who kind of isn't the most accountable guy, and that's really the one thing that Memphis really needs is like vets in that locker room, which would be the appeal of them bringing in DeMar DeRozan. So Ja then walks in here. Accountability was something that arguably got Mike Brown fired because he was screaming it from the rooftops. You're going to bring Ja Morant in here and expect Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis to sit him down and say, like, hey, buddy, like, we play defense here. Yeah. Like, we really bust our behinds for every minute that we're out there.
You know what's funny, too, is, and look, I'm not just placating to the group, even though they're always getting on me, but what's funny is...
Do it yourself.
What's funny is Ja's not playing better than Russell Westbrook right now. I mean, he's not. I know it won't last, but the long run it won't last. But Russell Westbrook is playing better than Ja Morant right now.
Different things.
Different things.
If you're saying Ja Morant, how he is currently at this moment in frustration playing.
I've seen certain people say, well, look at what Russell Westbrook's doing. And, of course, in the short term, sure. And that's what I'm saying. In the short term, let's swap Ja Morant. Let's swap Ja Morant for Russell Westbrook right now.
Yeah.
Right now. And I don't know, based on how good Russ is playing, which probably won't last.
I mean, Russ is still 15, 7, and 5.
Yeah.
Like, I think Ja is capable, very capable of like 30, 7, 8 assists. He's been a guy who's, almost face of the league. Like, Russ can't even, Russ can't get up anymore, Like, he really doesn't have his hops. Ja doesn't want to, but Ja still has the physical capabilities of doing it.
I haven't seen, I don't have ESPN right now, but
Nobody does,
I don't know if he's seen it or not.
Nobody does.
I don't know if he's seen it or not. Okay, I just had to check
I won't go that far, but I will say Russ is, especially if he has that, when you're 23, 16, and 10, like, you're playing elite basketball. Like, that is undeniable. Like, last night I was trying to figure out, like, Russell Westbrook, best free agent since when? And then Frankie was like, DeMar DeRozan last year. But
the thing about DeMar...
I was also trying to lose my mind.
Yeah. You know what's funny is they have brought on 2 future Hall of Famers with DeMar and Westbrook, but the DeMar thing, and I don't know if we talked about it on Roundtable, never really had, I don't think he ever had his own shoe.
No.
He does not have a fan club that calls me out of shape. Like, he didn't have that. Oh, you didn't hear about that? No, they call me Tubsters.
There was, like, people responding to Alan's tweets. Just saying diet.
Alan just ran a 5K literally last weekend.
I don't know.
I was about to say he signed up for that maybe after the Westbrook.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They call a former D1 athlete.
Yeah, that's nuts.
They said, another tubster.
Yeah, that's what they keep saying. So I love Westbrook.
That's really funny.
But with DeMar, there were no. He doesn't have the same type of moments as Westbrook, and he's just so polarizing. And that's where we're at right
He's
now.
only 26 years old. He just turned 26 years old,
Ja.
too. Yeah, which is...
But Ja is not better than De'Aaron Fox, to me.
Remember that was the huge debate?
Really I had De'Aaron and maybe this is not fair, but I had De'Aaron by default. Because, and I know he's injured now. But
you weren't here, though. There was a massive debate. There was a Ja versus Fox debate when the whole Hulu has live sports thing happened. And it was like Ja fans versus Kings fans. It was a whole thing. It was like 3-4 years ago, like right before the Beam Team season. And I think that was when, was it Amin? Like Amin got into it with the Kings fan base as a whole. Because he was on Team Ja.
Yeah.
So
I met him, by the way.
It's deeply rooted. It's a very deeply rooted thing that kind of is like opening up an old wound. But yeah, it creates some interesting conversations if Ja Morant does come here.
He's Frankie Cartoscelli. He's Chris Watkins. They will be back next week. Be sure to follow them on social media and also the Sactown Sports app, as well as Sactown Sports Instagram. And I'm trying to get us to get that TikTok and X as well. On the other side, let's keep the conversation going. Should Russ stay in the starting lineup? 916-329-1140 on Stiles. Sactown Sports.